Okay, so our goal is to find all the points on the graph of this function for where the derivative is 0, meaning that there would be a horizontal tangent line. And we're also going to look for the points where the derivative does not exist, so where it's undefined. Okay, so first we need to just figure out what the derivative of this function is. So for that, we're going to use chain rule. So let's rewrite this as f of x being equal to, that's as an exponent. So all that is the same as being raised to the 3 or 2/3 exponent, because we have a 2 inside and a third root. So it's the same as x squared minus 1, all to the 2/3 power. Now, remember in chain rule, we want to take the derivative of the outside, which is our 2/3 power function, and we're going to multiply by the derivative inside. So what we'll get is that f prime of x will be equal to the derivative of the 2/3, exponent here will be 2/3 times x squared minus 1. Take away 1 from that, so it's to negative 1/3. So all that multiplied by the derivative of x squared minus 1. So the derivative of x squared minus 1 is just 2x. And then let's just clean this up, or let's make it, as a quotient. So we'll have that f prime of x will be equal to 4x over 3 times x squared minus 1 to the 1/3. So 4x on top over 3 times x squared minus 1 to the 1/3 power. Now this is our derivative, so we need to figure out where it's equal to 0 at and where it's undefined. So this will be equal to 0 simply when you have 4x equal to 0. So let's write that f prime of x equals 0. When you get 4x equal to 0, you just need the denominator to equal 0. And that just means it's 0 when x equals 0. Now, where is it undefined? It'll be undefined where the denominator is equal to 0. So we want to make this denominator equal to 0. So let's set that whole thing. 3 times x squared minus 1 to the 1/3 power equal to 0. Now, so what we just essentially have to do is figure out the value of x that will make the inside equal to 0. So you're essentially just solving simple equation x squared minus 1 equals 0. And that'll be when x is negative and positive 1. So x equals positive and negative 1. Now, remember, these are just the x coordinates. So to actually find the point, we need to figure out what the y coordinate is. So to find the y coordinate, you plug these values into the function. Excuse me. So first with that one, we'll have f of 0 will be simply the square root of -1, or square root of -1 squared, will be 1. So let me just write it out. F of 0 is cube root of, make that 0, so it'll just be -1 squared, which is just square root of 1, or the cube root of 1. And that'll just be 1. So let's go ahead. Let's write our f prime of x equals 0 at 0, 1. 0, at the point 0, 1. Now it'll be undefined when x equals positive and -1. So now we just plug those into here. And let's write what those are. So f of 1 will be equal to the third root. Okay, well, you can see they'll both be equal to 0, because you're going to have 1 squared minus 1, which will be 0, and -1 squared will be, 1 still. So inside here, you'll just get -1 squared. Oh, inside here, you'll get, 1 minus 1, and then you'll get the square root of 0. Undefined at -1, 0, and at 1, 0. Now, just to better help you understand what's going on here, let me just draw a little sketch of what this graph actually looks like. So you're not expected to know this, obviously, because if you could just graph it, you won't have to do the calculus. But if you have a graphing calculator, it's always good to reinforce your answer. Anyways, the graph of this looks something like this. It's gonna do this loopsy thing. And then at here will be where the derivative is undefined, as well as here. Remember, it's undefined because the left-hand slope doesn't equal the right hand, or the left-hand slope doesn't equal the right-hand slope. See, it's curving there and it's straight there, and same thing here. The derivatives don't equal the same at these 2 points. Now it's equal to 0 here at at 0, 1, because you have a horizontal tangent there. So again, always make sure you reinforce your answers, either mentally or do a little sketch or graphing calculator to make sure you really solidify these concepts.